Before the SAT, my mom, fearing that I was out of her control, threatened suicide by making me fill out a local school. I begged my dad to cooperate and managed to modify my college volunteer back to a faraway place before the deadline. Who knew that my mom still wouldn't give up and moved the family to my school to continue to control everything about me? I got severely depressed. Reluctantly complied when my mom forced me to eat allergic foods. I finally rebelled against her for once at the cost of my life. I didn't realize that God had mercy. I was reborn. When I hadn't even opened my eyes when a familiar argument came to my ears. David, are you still thinking about that witch? Heh, but it's only been a few months since I've seen him. Your eyes can't wait to grow on him. How dare you do this to us after half of my life working for you and giving birth to your children? David, do you have a heart? The voice of mom questioning dad in the living room could penetrate my eardrums even through the wall, so you can imagine how shrill her voice was. Dad, as always, was silent and didn't answer. Just like in his previous life, until I died. He was holding back. The witch in mom's mouth is my Aunt Mia. Dad and Aunt Mia were in love when they were young, and it was time to talk about marriage. When Aunt Mia brought Dad home to meet her parents, she was taken in by Mom. She ignored the harmony between the families, drugged Dad's drink and went into his room that night in the dark. Soon after that, there was me. Aunt Mia and Dad's marriage was not consummated and Mom married Dad as she wished. I stared expressionlessly at the ceiling, feeling the strong beating of my heart, the breath of life. Originally, I thought it was because I was incompetent that I didn't have freedom. Having died once, I realized it wasn't me who was at fault, it was Mom. This time, I'm going to save myself, and I'm going to save Dad. Point 2. I got up from the bed and opened the doorknob to go out. Dad immediately got up and came over to care for my body. Emmy, how's it going? Your teacher called me out of the blue and said you fainted and Dad was worried about you. Dad reached out and touched my forehead. The temperature was normal before he let out a sigh of relief and continued. Studies are important. But the body is most important. Let's not prioritize health over studies. Mom teased me with her eyes that were plastered with exaggeratedly long eyelashes and said in a disdainful tone, with your grades, you're still dizzy from studies. I feel ashamed for you. Next time something like this happens, you tell the teacher not to call me. I studied my ass off in order to get into the desired university. In order to use this reason that I could leave home in name only, I studied my ass off. All my teachers and classmates could see my efforts and recognized my dedication. Only my mom. I can never get her recognition. Mom, the school is letting you fill out your aspirations. Let's take this opportunity to discuss it. Dad heard this and gave me a worried look behind Mom's back, his wide warm palm stroking my back, wordlessly comforting me. He had always known what I was planning to do. Secretly, he was also supportive of me. Discuss. What's there to discuss? Of course I'm filling out StateU. It's close to home, so I can be taken care of. I pulled up the corner of my mouth slightly. Sure enough, she was still the same as in her previous life. From start to finish. She only thinks about herself. She said the same thing in her previous life, but I disagreed. The goal I fought for my entire high school was to be free of her control once I got into college. With one word, she ruined my vision. So she and I got into the strongest argument we've ever had. I won. I got into a university 2,000 kilometers away from home. I thought I was free, but to my surprise, on the second day of school, my mom showed up at the bottom of my dorm with my bags. Not only that, but she had to stay in my dorm on the grounds that she didn't have a place to live in the city. And I was crammed into a 1 meter cot. Point 3. I was famous at school. Wherever I go, my mom follows me. She was not the only one who followed me to class. But even to the restroom, she had to go in with me, and I was not allowed to lock the door. My roommates isolated me. My classmates alienated me. I have no friends and no girlfriends, just as I have been for the past 20 years. After enduring this for a month, I finally exploded. What exactly do you want me to do to satisfy you? To leave me alone? I broke down and yelled at her. But she laughed happily. This is what happens when you rebel against me. Who made you disobedient? If you were obedient and enrolled in your old school, wouldn't everything be fine? Want me to go? Also fine. You drop out. Go back, retake classes. And then take the city school. I completely lost control of myself, and lifted the bag in my hand and hit her in the face on the street. She stopped laughing and started crying. Tears and snot running down her face. Passers-by took a video and posted it online. I was chased by the whole network to scold. My mom opened a live broadcast to sell her misery on the internet, crying about my unfiliality. Obtained a crowd of netizens to defend and comfort. Oh my God, what kind of daughter is this? This mom really created a sin in her previous life. This life is spread to such a thing. Not that I'm blowing. If this were my daughter, I'd break her legs and definitely make her regret coming to this world. All good deeds and filial piety first. This is to be retribution. The street can beat people. Do not know how exaggerated in private. This can be sent to the juvenile detention center. The upstairs has a point. But this girl at a glance is not young. The juvenile detention center cannot control. It is estimated that it will have to enter the police station. She looked at these remarks. Her vanity was greatly satisfied. And with something to do every day, she finally stopped just staring at me. I finally gained a short and precious freedom. But it was no longer useful. I got very seriously depressed. Point 3 After the first time I became suicidal. I came back to my senses and was so scared that I brought a phone call to my dad for help. My dad was so distressed that he immediately put down his work and took a long vacation to be with me. He took a long vacation to be with me. He also gave me sick leave and cooperated with the doctor's instructions for active treatment. Dad hid my cell phone and prepared my favorite food and nice clothes for me every day. But my symptoms did not lessen. Because of my mom's active business, there were endless vocal criticisms of me on the internet. And now it was so bad that I didn't even dare to leave the house. I don't dare or want to look at the people pointing fingers at me. If I were guilty, I would be willing to be corrected, but am not. I don't understand why my mom is the way she is. My dad took me to rent a house and hide out, trying to use it as a silent rebellion. A netizen saw me and told my mom my address on the air. From that day on, the curses on the door of our house didn't stop. With dog's blood on the wall writing ungrateful daughter, cursing me to death, sending me an elegy. Netizens' tricks are endless. The landlord cannot withstand the pressure. Do not rent to us. Mom won again. Dad and I returned home in disarray. Mom stroked her newly done manicure, proudly showing off. Yo, not playing away from home. One big one, one little one. I thought how much more capable. Hurry up and cook dinner when you're back. You're tired of eating takeout for so many days. And you, Mom looked at me. Go clean yourself up. Look at you. Really disgrace me. Really shame on me. Really shame on me. Since I was a child, I don't know how many times I have heard such words. Mom. Why in the world are you doing this to me? How long do you want to manipulate us? Manipulate. Mom looked like she had heard something funny and laughed so hard that tears came out of her eyes. You deserve it. What makes you worthy of manipulation? I have a dog that knows how to wag its tail at me, but you have a dead face every day. Dad finally couldn't stand it anymore and hit the pan in his hand. That's enough. Mom was startled and yelled at Dad. You're going to die. What's wrong with you all of a sudden? You stop it. Emmy is our daughter. You deleted the online video, and no more live streaming in the future. Emmy is already depressed. How much longer are you going to torture her? Mom raged. David, if you don't want to live anymore, just say so. You want to break things. Go ahead. I'll do it. After saying that, she picked up the things in the house and started to smash them furiously. Whatever was expensive, he smashed it. The crackling sound made my heart start to ache. It's starting again, as long as I can remember, as long as Dad shows a little bit of dissatisfaction. It's no exaggeration to say that it's a world war. That's why Dad has been holding back. He didn't want me to live in a constant state of strife. He wanted to hold back as much as he could to give me a quiet environment to grow up in. I turned around and went back to my room, slamming the door and locking it behind me. The sound of the door slamming sounded like it flicked a switch in my mom's head, and she got tired of smashing things and started to turn the tables on me. The thumping of the door, many times heavier than earlier, assaulted my eardrums and was accompanied by a steady stream of curses and insults, as if I were the world's most vicious villain, not her daughter. I ducked under the covers and still couldn't hide. I clutched the covers tightly, telling myself in my mind to hold on a little longer, and when she got tired it would pass. I don't know how long it took, but the slamming finally stopped. By the time I went out, Dad had gone who knows where. Mom sat paralyzed on the sofa. The moment she saw me, her eyes flashed with a strange excitement, like the sense of accomplishment of finally conquering a mountain that she had been climbing for years. An uneasy feeling flooded through me. Mom walked over with a bowl of shrimp and said with a smile, "Emmy, you want me to delete those videos too, don't you? How about if you eat these shrimp? I'll delete them, and from now on, none of them will be broadcast live anymore." My heart was like falling into a frozen lake in winter, shivering with cold. Where is she compromising, but is just looking for compensation in another place? Since I was a kid, I've been allergic to shrimp. But my mom thinks it's because I'm pretentious. Always trying to find a way to give me to give up this bad habit. It was a matter of my health, and Dad never gave in on the issue. So for as long as I can remember, Dad cooked all the meals in the house. He also repeatedly told me not to eat any of the food my mom gave me in private. If I were the old me, I would have snatched the plate and slammed it on the floor, then called Dad to complain. But I was really so tired that day. I looked at my mom fixedly and said slowly and seriously, "Do you really want me to eat it? If eating this plate of shrimp would kill me, would you let me eat it too?" Mom laughed excitedly. "Don't be ridiculous. It's shrimp. It's so nutritious. How could it die? You're talking alarmist talk. Your dad is also stupid to have really been fooled by you for so many years." "I'm not that stupid. Eat, eat, hurry up and eat." After saying that, he stared closely at my movements. The silent battle that lasted for almost 20 years. At this moment she was finally going to declare success. Mom simply couldn't restrain her excitedly trembling hands. I was completely dead and really tired. Not wanting to struggle anymore. Taking the shrimp from her hand, I took one bite at a time, gulping and wolfing it down. Mom stared at me as I finished all the shrimp and heaved a sigh of relief. "That's right. Look, you're fine, aren't you?" My throat began to tighten. I could feel the inside of my throat slowly swelling and my body began to burn slightly. In order to completely eliminate the chance of living, I turned around and went back to my room and locked the door again just as my body was reacting. Probably because I was really too obedient this time. My mom rarely didn't yell at me, and instead hummed a song to catch up on her drama. The moment I closed the door to my room, I couldn't support myself and collapsed on the floor. My whole body started to burn, and a red rash scrambled out, itching like crazy. But I didn't have the energy to care about the itch on my body. My throat was getting tight and I was gradually losing my breath. The agony didn't last long, and not long after I couldn't breathe. I lost consciousness. The moment my consciousness left my body, I was relieved. But my consciousness didn't disappear and I didn't leave the house. I stayed with the trapped family. Dad came back in the evening with a cake of my favorite asparagus and small strawberries. Mom was in a good mood and instead of going over old ground with him, she said moodily, "You bought groceries. Huh, make less. Emmy already ate." Dad snapped his head up, stared at Mom and asked, "What did you feed her?" Mom replied casually, "Shrimp. I told you she could eat it, right? It's just for you to be spoiled. It's really getting more and more pretentious. In the future. Aw. You still have to listen to me." Dad slipped the things in his hand on the floor, quickly rushed to the door of my room, and slammed the door with his body. My body was already cold. Dad broke down and hugged me, crying in despair. Mom saw my face and stood in the doorway at a loss for words. How did this happen? I just let her eat some shrimp. I didn't know it would be so serious. Dad cried and yelled at her. "Get out." Mom growled back with a strained neck. "Just go." My consciousness followed Mom out the door, and I saw her walk to the lounge chair downstairs in the neighborhood and sit down with a trembling body. Mouth murmured, "Impossible. Won't. How can it die? That's just shrimp. Huh. How could it be?" She put her hands 3 over her face, tears squeezing out of her fingers and scrambling down her face. I wasn't even in the mood to watch. I just wanted to go back and see my dad, but I couldn't control my consciousness. After a long time, Mom finally got tired of crying, got up and stumbled towards home. My consciousness drifted back with her. Dad had already straightened out my attire and laid me flat on the bed, tucking the covers tightly around me. It was as if I had fallen asleep. It's weird. My eyes still feel sore even though I'm already conscious. "Emmy, it was Daddy's fault. I thought that if I just put up with it, I could always get her to stop and you could have a whole family. Daddy was wrong. So wrong. The only thing Daddy is sorry for is you. Don't worry. I won't let you be alone. Our Emmy's biggest fear is the dark. You wait for Daddy. Just a few days. You must wait for Daddy." I was anxious, but couldn't do anything. "Dad, I don't blame you. Don't do anything stupid." Soon I realized what Dad was planning to do. He pretended to have forgiven Mom and talked with Alma about organizing my funeral. Secretly, he quietly went to buy a bottle of herbicide. The day after I died, Dad made a sumptuous dinner for Mom. Mom ate happily. "Was it good?" Dad asked Mom with a smile. "Yummy. Eat more if it's delicious." Dad smiled with even more satisfaction. Mom ate most of her meal. Only when she was done eating did Dad begin to slowly and methodically clean up the mess. Dad was very slow in washing the dishes today, dawdling for almost an hour before he finished cleaning up. At this time, it would take at least half an hour to get to the hospital. It was too late to wash his stomach. Dad pinched the time and offhandedly said to Mom, "Oh yeah, I put herbicide in the meal. You have about 2 weeks to confess slowly to Emmy." Instead of feeling relieved, I burst into tears. I watched my dad eat a meal with herbicide in it too. "Dad, why are you so stupid? It's not worth it." Mom screamed, rushed over and started hitting Dad. In previous conflicts, Dad was the one who held back and gave in. Today, instead of being silent, Dad fought back with all his strength. "I put up with you for so long for Emmy, but what have you done? You don't deserve to be a mother. You don't deserve Emmy to call you Mom. How could a woman's strength be better than a man's?" Mom quickly lost the battle and lay on the floor with a bruised nose in a terrible state. My consciousness slowly faded as I cried out and struggled to run over to my dad for another hug. opening my eyes again. I woke up on the bed in my room. Point 6. I smiled and said yes, this time when my mom said that she wanted me to fill out state U. I was a little shocked when I saw my mom's face. Mom looked at me with some dismay, and Dad was surprised. It's good that you've figured it out. Our city school is pretty good too. Mom wasn't quite used to me being so submissive. Mom is right. I didn't know better. I'll listen to you from now on. Satisfied, Mom went out to play cards. Worried, Dad pulled me over and asked, "Didn't you always want to go somewhere far away? Did your mom say something to you in private?" "Don't listen to her. Do what you think. Dad will always support you." Looking at my dad's worried look, I remembered the way he hugged my corpse in my previous life and cried in despair and died with my mom. I hugged Dad hard. "Dad, Mom is like this. Haven't you ever thought of divorcing her?" Dad's body paused for a moment, and his hands couldn't stop trembling slightly. But immediately he calmed down. "No, you're about to take the SAT. Now is not a good time." Tears slid silently down my cheeks and into Dad's jacket. From the past to the present, all Dad thinks about is me. If it wasn't for Mom's pregnancy back then, there's no way Dad would have compromised and married Mom. "Okay then, let's make a date then. When I get into my ideal college, you'll go and pursue your own life." Dad choked a little. "Good. Dad can only be relieved if my Emmy is doing well." I didn't tell Dad what I really intended to do. Mom is a suspicious person, and if Dad knew, he might not be able to hide it. The only way I could strike a blow and change back to my real choice before the deadline for filling out my application was to make Mom think I really listened to her and didn't resist. That day came quickly. On the first day I started volunteering. I happily filled out status volunteer in front of my mom. Mom didn't suspect a thing. 10 minutes before the deadline, I asked my teacher to remotely change my volunteer to the same school that I had been successfully admitted to in my previous life. When my teacher sent me the news that I had successfully modified my volunteer, I sat on the bed in my room and slowly loosened my clenched hands and heaved a sigh of relief. Next, all that was needed was for my mom to act in her true colors. I had to make her pay the price she deserved while securing my own prospects. Point 7. The day after the dust settled, I quietly shared the good news with my dad. I didn't want him to worry. I also bought pinhole cameras and installed them in the hidden living room of the house and in my own bedroom. I also carried a tape recorder on my body at all times. On this day, my mom rushed into my room angrily with a postal delivery in her hand. With all her strength, she slapped me on the left side of my face. My face was skewed to the side because of the force, and there was a slight sweet fishy taste in my mouth. "You little bitchy brat. How dare you lie to me?" Mom slammed the paper in her hand in my face, the sharp corner knocking bloody marks on my forehead. "You told me you applied to state U. Why is the acceptance letter tack U?" With my back to where the camera was, I whispered softly through the shape of my mouth, "I'm going." Mom was the last person to hear me defy her. "You've rebelled against me. See if I don't beat you to death today." Mom was so angry that her face turned red. Dad was at work now. She didn't have any worries. She grabbed the lamp on the nightstand and smashed it hard on my back, and drew out a broom and whipped it hard on my back. I showed my bruised and tearful face in front of the camera, and begged bitterly, Mom, don't hit. I'm wrong. I don't dare anymore. I just really like that school. I'm wrong, Mom. It hurts. Don't hit me again." Mom didn't listen to my confession of wrongdoing at all. I don't even listen to my admission of fault and pleading. The guy thing that hit me changed from a broom to a clothesline pole, and now a leather belt. There is no good place on the arm anymore. After an hour, she finally got tired. "Damn bitchy hoof. They'll see if you still dare to lie to me. You think you've won. I'm telling you. You don't think so. You don't want to get rid of me. Don't even think about it in this life." Mom went out for a break halfway through. I slowly got up through the pain and turned to the camera to show my bruises, then slowly collapsed to the floor as my strength failed me. With enough video evidence, I braced myself to get up from the floor. Mom, this is the last time you can really hurt me, and I'm not going to let any of these injuries go to waste. I'm going to make you pay them back. When Dad came home, I pretended to go to bed early and didn't answer the door, and Mom didn't want to cause any more trouble and didn't mention what happened this afternoon. Hiding from Dad for 3 days in a row, when the body injury is better, looks less scary. I told Dad my plan in its original form. Dad was still heartbroken when he looked at my injuries, and there was a long silence. It's my fault. I'm the one who wasn't able to do it. Emmy, did I really do it wrong? Dad lifted his eyes to look at me. The confused and clueless look in his pupils made my heart tighten. No, it's not, Dad. It's not you or me that's wrong. It's Mom. It's just that this is the way of the world. Filial piety is bigger than life. And I have to use these tactics so I can get rid of her later in name only. Mom's shamelessness. I've already experienced it in my previous life. If I don't have enough cards in hand, if Dad really divorces her, I'm only afraid that the whole world is going to attack Dad like they attacked me before. My mom is a person who has always known how to utilize public opinion. Okay, I'll listen to you, but, by all means, don't do it on the premise of hurting yourself again. I smiled and nodded. Good. Never again. On the day school started, my mom packed her bags and got on the train with me. 8 when checking into the dorm. My mom blocked the RA's face and offered to live with me. The RA looked surprised. Huh, there's no precedent for this. What's your situation? Tell me, if it's really difficult. I can explain to the school for special treatment. The students in the queue behind them for dorm check-in all murmured. What? You still have to live with your mom when you go to college. Not weaned. Simply refreshed my 3 views. I got into college. Right. This is too magical. Mom wiped the corners of her eyes with her hand and was about to start acting. I grabbed the RA's hand before her and spoke. Where is the difficulty? Nah. It's that I didn't listen to her when I filled in the volunteer. Fill in the old family's volunteer. My mom was afraid that I would go far away and not take good care of her. So she followed me here. I will do a good job of thinking with her. Just don't give you any trouble. Mom's made-up expression froze. Turned her head to look at me. Her eyes full of incredulity. RA instantly understood. And looked at her mom with disdain in her eyes. The students behind us were also surprised by the reversal. My God. I originally thought it was a giant baby in college, but I didn't realize it was a 50-year-old unweaned giant baby. What kind of mom is this? If my mom is like this, eek, think about it and fall off the goosebumps. Spread such a mom. Really have to suffer. Hey, lady, hurry back. There's no powdered milk on a college campus. Ha ha ha. The surrounding laughter made Mom blush. But she didn't dare to retort a word. My mom is a typical harboring person who can only bully people weaker than her by being shameless. Facing the accusations and ridicule of the crowd, she could only cover her face and run away. I didn't care about the comments behind me and their strange gazes, calmly continued with the formalities. Compared to the cyber violence I experienced in my previous life, this is simply child's play. After completing the formalities, I waited at the door until a round-faced girl came out, and I walked up to her. When she saw me approaching, she tried to avoid it somewhat sheepishly. I grabbed her wrist. Classmate, I'm not here to trouble you. Can you send me the video you just took? Maybe what my mom did was wrong, but after all, that's my mom, and it's not good for her if the video goes out. The round-faced student was a little embarrassed, and painfully sent the video he just took inside directly to me. When I returned to dorm, I called Dad. Dad, Mom, I can stall for now. You can make a move on your side. 9. It's not that Dad didn't think about divorce when he was young. But Dad was handsome, dignified, successful in his career, and still had a strong sense of responsibility. So where would Mom let go easily? As long as Dad mentioned divorce, Mom started to fool around. The real play disappear. Delayed again and again, until Dad's anger subsides a little, then take me to use as an excuse to play the emotional card. It worked for Dad because he thought his life was ruined and he couldn't risk mine. But Mom, I'm too old to be your shield now. Mom squatted me under the dorm building, and the students passing by pointed at her, just as they had done to me in my previous life. I don't know if it was the sun that made her blush or the fact that she hadn't experienced this kind of being pointed at before, but she kept her head down almost the whole time, only staring at the entrance of the dormitory building with her afterglow. I asked my roommate to bring me food and hid in the dorm for the day. With classes officially starting tomorrow, there was definitely no hiding. Around she also sunbathed in the sun dry waiting for a day. Anger level should have reached its peak. After dinner, I put a tape recorder in my bag and deliberately went downstairs, pretending that I didn't see her panicking and hiding. Sure enough, as soon as Mom saw that I was afraid, she immediately came on, completely forgetting the embarrassment of the day. She came over in 3 or 2 steps, grabbed my hand and dragged it outside the school. She didn't dare to do it in the school. Walking on the familiar street, I thought in my heart, this is the place. In my previous life, this is where Mom drove me crazy and sold me out. Now, it's her turn to feel it all. I leaned close to her ear and whispered, Mom, are you mad and angry right now? Don't worry, this is just the beginning. From now on, Dad and we won't listen to a word you say anymore. I've figured out all your dirty thoughts. I won't compromise with you anymore. If you can beat me to death. Mom was so angry that her eyes were red and her body was shaking. She stood there pointing at me with trembling lips, but she couldn't say anything. She took a deep breath, and only after she'd gotten her strength back did she start yelling at me. Emily, you've grown up, haven't you? You think you can get rid of me now, don't you? I'm telling you. Don't even think about it. As long as I live, I will always be your mom, and you're going to have to listen to me. I should have known that I shouldn't have let you read any books. All the books have been read into a dog's stomach. After those 2 curses, she started cruising around, looking for something she could get her hands on. The next second she found a wrist-thick wooden stick next to a dumpster. She was so angry that she didn't think much about it. Picked up the stick and started to greet me. This is downtown and it's rush hour at night. I was afraid to pull the passing Big Brother for help. Big Brother, although covered with flower arm tattoos, but people are very righteous. Immediately protect me behind, reach out and easily catch them. Mom swung over the stick. Mom did not hit once not to die, and revived. You little bitchy hoofs still dare to hide. Let's see if Mom won't skin you today. Brother Flower Arm got annoyed and snatched the stick and smashed it on the ground. Lady, there's something you can't say properly. Now is the rule of law society. My mom was out putting at him. Old lady disciplining her own daughter. None of your business. Even if she's your daughter, it's against the law to hit someone. You want to mind your own business. Fine. They'll see how long you can protect her. I don't believe she'll still not come home. Mom angrily put down her harsh words and turned to leave. I cried and thanked my big brother. Thank you, big brother. If it wasn't for you, I'd be sure today passers-by couldn't stand it, and urged, Child, don't be afraid. Do you want me to help you call the police? Yes. And social services. I'll go try. I shook my head in despair and helplessly. Thank you uncle and aunts for their kindness. Useless. And then forced a smile to hold up and said, It's okay I'm used to it. Mom put the gas out on the good. A passerby photographed the scene and passed it to the internet. Mom, like me in my previous life, was on fire. Now it's your turn to experience what it's like to be cyberstormed. My mom. 10 Dad swiped the video and immediately called me. Emmy, are you okay? Do you want me to come over? No, Dad. I'm almost done on my side. How's your side? Almost there. Good. Then let's get ready to wrap it up. After the online video festered, I took a month's leave from school to go home and deal with my mom's affairs thoroughly. The school administration knew about my unique situation and signed off without saying a word. The counselor was a million times more concerned. Is 1 month enough? If it's not enough, you can just call me directly. You don't have to come back specially. In your case, I can get you up to 3 months leave. So you can deal with it at ease and don't worry about the schoolwork you've fallen behind. Our school offers synchronized online classes. They'll send you the connection. As long as you keep up with the final exams, there's no problem. My eyes rose slightly as I listened. My counselor was still the best counselor in that world. In my previous life, when my mom followed me, it was my counselor who clashed with her the most. This time, she still helped me this much. Thank you. I will definitely not delay my studies. I made a deep 90-degree bow towards my counselor teacher, expressing my thanks along with my previous life. Good boy. Get up. I'll nag you a little more. No matter what. Protect yourself. You're still young. The future is still long. If you successfully graduate from this school, the road ahead of you in life is open and bright. I looked at the counselor's eyes shining fine light. My heart stirred. Yes, I still have a long life ahead of me, and I will have a good life afterward. 11 I went back to my hometown, and my mom followed me back. This time, her eyes did not have the old days of overbearing eye above the top. Look at my eyes, both indignation and fear. In the end, she had to lose the battle, and asked me to explain to the netizen in a condescending manner. Emmy, Mom knows it's wrong. You give Mom another chance. As long as you step in and make a video, those people online won't misunderstand Mom anymore. I mentally snorted and murmured, misunderstanding, which word online users say is misunderstanding. On the face. I didn't move. Mom, of course I'm willing to help you. No matter what. You're my mom after all. But I'm thinking that this kind of clarification video, it's still more convincing if the family sits down together and has fun. I'm afraid I don't even have to say anything for those rumors to go away. What does Mom think? Well, be home this afternoon anyway. Mom's eyes lit up. Okay. All yours. 12 When we got home, the doorway was a mess. Dad sat disheveled on the couch, bearded and puffing on a cigarette in a burst. When he saw us come back, he turned his head sheepishly, not daring to meet our eyes. The house was even more messy than the doorway. There were traces of rummaging everywhere, and Mom's favorite cosmetics and bags were thrown on the floor, with messy footprints clearly visible on them. David, what are you doing? What happened to the house? Mom painfully picked up the LVs on the floor and questioned Dad. I was so stressed that I gambled some money. You were stressed. What are you stressed out? Mom growled in a sharp voice. With your little income, you still go to gamble money. She looked at the traces of the house, as if suddenly thought of something. David, how much do you owe? Suddenly, there was a banging sound at the door. Mom and I shuddered in fear, and Dad got up from the couch in a panic and hid us behind the curtains. The curtains in our house were good at blocking out light, and there was plenty of space behind them. Mom and I couldn't be seen hiding in there at all. But with such a small space, I could still hear Mom's thumping heartbeat. David, when are you going to pay back the money you borrowed from our long? You live in such a big house. You can't afford to pay back a mere $3 million. The moment my mom heard $3 million, her forehead veins flared up. Her fists clenched fiercely, her expression indignant. You guys are unreasonable. I only borrowed $800,000. It's only been half a month. How come it's $3 million? My dad retorted with a voice permeated with fear. The rules of the road. That's how it is. This is still today's price. Tomorrow can be more than this number. Brother advised you to hurry to sell this house. So, you directly sell this house to brother. Save the middle trouble. How? Our house in the center of the city, when it was bought into almost $1 million. Now how are more than $3 million? No. This house is marital property. I have to discuss with my wife. Then you can grasp tomorrow can really not this price. My means, you know. After saying that, only to hear him greet the people behind him. Come all here, or according to the rules. Brothers, pay attention to the hand. Don't be disabled on the line. The sounds of punches and kicks and Dad's muffled grunts of pain rose and fell. After half an hour, the punching and kicking stopped. The men left the house. Mom and I went out from behind the curtains, and Dad was covered in blood and in a sorry state. His handsome face was no longer as vigorous as it had been in the beginning. Mom pointed at him with a trembling hand, unable to say a word. My dad, miserable smile. Things you all already know. This house. My mom growled. David, you have caused your own trouble. You solve it yourself. There's no way I'll agree to sell the house. Linda, we are husband and wife. You have half of this $3 million. Even if we divorce, you can't run away. It was like that reminded my mom. Her tone changed. Divorce. Yes, David. I'm divorcing you. This house belongs to me. You owe it to yourself. It has nothing to do with me. My dad couldn't believe it and was shocked and angry. Linda, you're talking to me about divorce now. Why didn't you want a divorce before? David, you have the nerve to talk about the past. Before you were barely a young talent. Now, look at yourself now. At best you are a gambler. Why should I waste my time on you? Dad looked like he was disappointed to the core and pointed his index finger at Mom. Okay. Linda, in that case, I won't stop you. But Emmy you're not taking. Emmy was born to me. Why should I give it to you? She will be married soon. Are you hitting on her dowry money? I'm telling you. Don't even think about it. I stood out to interrupt their argument. Have you forgotten that I'm an adult? I can make my own decisions. Mom's face sank and she wanted to scold me, but suddenly, as if she remembered something, the insults that reached her mouth were swallowed back by her. Think carefully. Your father is a gambler who can't fill the holes. If you choose him, you'll suffer in the future. Don't be sold and count the money. The drama ended with me standing firmly by my father's side. Mom printed out the divorce agreement that day, signed it quickly and threw it to Dad. Simply packed up some of our things and threw them out, along with me and Dad. Together with the sweeping out. Standing in the street, blowing a cold wind, my dad and I looked at each other and laughed. Really? That's the end of it? Dad's hijack smile is still mixed with a trace of unbelief. Having lived through my previous life, I knew all too well Mom's extremely selfish nature. There was no way she would waste a single moment of her time on us when there was no profit to be made. Yes, Dad. It's all over. Let's go see the house first. It's over between you guys. It's just getting started between me and Mom. 13 I had just gotten Dad settled when Mom's call came in. Damn girl. You promised me in the car to come out and clarify. Making a video is definitely not good enough. You hurry up and post a statement online. Okay, Mom. My tone was mild. Almost this time. Hurry up, Mom hung up the phone satisfied. With a sneer at the corner of my mouth, I took out my cell phone and computer, packaged and organized all the information I had on hand, and sold it to an emotional blogger with 1 million followers for a respectable price. It was sold at 7. And by 8:20, the video of my mom abusing me hit the internet. My God, How can there be such scum in a society where the rule of law prevails? She simply doesn't deserve to be a mother. Within 3 minutes. I want to know all about her. My righteous mouth finally has a place to go. I've seen this sister. Right on the street downtown. Her mom tried to beat her up and was stopped. I even took a video. Upstairs begging to share the video. 1. Countless comments. Looking at me through and through. Mom. Now it's your turn to experience my despair. Mom's phone call came in. I put my cell phone on silent and watched as it repeatedly went on and off. Took out my new phone card, registered my account, and thoughtfully left my mom's address and phone number and other details in the comments section. Then pulled up the previously installed surveillance and prepared to enjoy mom's mess. I installed 8 surveillance cameras in the house, and now there are only 7 left that still work. And the one in the room seems to have been pulled out and destroyed by mom. The video can clearly see mom hiding in the living room, knocking on the door, thumping, mom shrinking on the sofa, trembling. Still holding the cell phone in her hand, she kept trying to call me. On the 95th call, I picked up. Hello, Emmy. Mom is wrong. You help me. Don't hang up. I really know it's wrong. I took a deep breath and gave her one last chance. Mom. Can I have shrimp? Huh. Shrimp. What are you talking about shrimp now? Of course you can eat it. If it wasn't for your dad always stopping you from talking about this for a while, why don't you hurry up and come and explain it to everyone? Hello. Hello. I completely dead heart. Hung up the phone off the phone. Open the cell phone camera. Face the camera. I slowly and heavily say these years' real experience. I remember. The first time I was beaten by my mom is in the street where people come and go. I saw a good-looking Barbie doll. I want to let my mom buy it. My mom's slap landed heavily on my head and she was cursing something, but I couldn't hear anything. Since then, I haven't been hit in this area again because I never asked her for anything again. I've been hit for many reasons. Too slow to eat the bun with 1 bite left. Getting a 99 on a test. Squatting down to tie my shoes after they came apart and making her wait in a hurry. Spending $10 on her aunt's visit. The neighbor's kid getting a perfect score on a test. There are many, many more. I can't remember anymore. I'm just too tired. I know the child can't blame the mom, but I just can't hold on any longer. Thank you all for caring about me all this time. I'm very happy. If possible, they'll repay you all in my next life. At the end of the video, I smiled at the camera and bowed, and as my body bent, a tear silently hit the ground. It wasn't staged. Those hurts. They were real. Those aggravations, the ones that I couldn't get over right away if I did it 20 or 30 times over. Once I did give up my life because of my mom. The video was posted online. Immediately caused a furor. Some enthusiastic netizens directly reported to the police. If the officials use family conflicts to make peace again, we will be the first to disown it. People's girls are not going to survive. This is murder. Upstairs agrees. We must give the girl justice. Some careful netizens also found out my current address. As a result, my life became lively. Every time I go out, I am escorted by someone who is not too far away. I can receive warm encouragement on my cell phone all the time, fearing that I can't think straight. There was also a girl who once had a similar experience with me, sharing her self-help process with me and encouraging me to hang in there. The school called to express encouragement and support, and explained that if they needed legal assistance, their school would support them unconditionally. These fireflies from all over the country lit up my cold world little by little. Without my mom's interference, my world found light again. 14 Mom was taken away by the police for investigation. Dad refiled for divorce officially and the house was awarded to Dad. Mom broke down in the courtroom. On what grounds? What right do you have? The house is mine. He's a gambler. Why should he be awarded the house? Also, what is in your way if I discipline my own children? Why do you care so much? But it was of no use for her to break down and play hard to get. The sentence had already been pronounced. My mom, at the age of 43, had nothing. I thought I'd be happy, excited, and have the pleasure of revenge. But there was nothing. Certainly no sympathy or guilt. From then on, it was as if my world had never had her, and everything started over. Without my mom, my life and my dad's became splendid and cozy. He resumed his favorite position, and I returned to the long-lost campus. Life was quiet and calm, yet precious and beautiful. Until one day, when I was walking down the street and smiled for the first time at the beauty radiating from a yellowing ginkgo leaf. I knew I should be cured. I stood on Ginkgo Avenue and looked back. The avenue was a little mottled with fallen leaves accompanied by wet dirt after the rain. But I saw the breath of life in it. Turning my head, the sunlight poured onto my face through the gaps in the leaves. It was so warm. It was the first time in 20 years that I felt such warmth. Our lives were quiet for years. Not so for Mom. My classmates in the city told me some news related to Mom. Being away from us, Mom had a hard time. All these years, she was spoiled by Dad and I. She didn't dip her fingers in the water. And she didn't have a diploma, let alone the ability to work. Without a source of livelihood, she had to lower her head and do some hard work that she never cared for in normal life. However, there was no one in the area who didn't know what she had done, so no one was willing to hire her to do even the hardest and most tiring work. With no money, no job, and limited savings on her, she spent money and didn't know how to break her contract. Soon even the house could not afford to rent. Gradually, even her classmates did not hear from her. As if she had evaporated on earth. I finished reading the message, turned off my cell phone, and listened carefully to the teacher. The past is the past. My future is long and bright. The whole text is finished.